Hello. So I was reading about 1 Samuel this morning, and as I was reading, I came across this really nice little verse here. So the background to the story of Samuel is his mother. So this is about Hannah's mother, and there's a man called Elkanah, and he has two wives. The first wife had um, children, whereas she didn't, and so Elkanah used to give Hannah a worthy portion, because he loved Hannah, but the Lord had shut up her womb. And her adversary, who's the other wife, also provoked her sore to make her fret, because the Lord had shut up her womb. And as he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of the Lord, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. And said Elkanah to her, Hannah, why weepest thou, and why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? Am I not better to thee than 10 sons? So I thought this verse is really beautiful that he says that to her. And then I was also thinking about this in the sense of, in our lives, we may not always seem to have what we would want or like, but Jesus is far better than even 10 sons. And so Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon the seat by the post of the temple of the Lord, and she was in bitterness of soul, and prayed unto the Lord, and wept sore. And she vowed a vow, and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but will give unto thine handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. So the no razor on his head means that he would be dedicated a little bit like Samson, or like a Nazarite. And it came to pass, as she continued praying before the Lord, that Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunken. So he's making a bad judgment there. And Eli said to her, How long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thy wine from thee. And Hannah answered and said, No, my lord, I am a woman of sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have poured out my soul before the Lord. Count not thy handmaid for a daughter of Belial, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief have I spoken hitherto. Then Eli answered and said, Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition. Sorry, I lost my place. That thou hast asked of him. And she said, Let the handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way and did eat, and her countenance was no more sad. And they rose up in the morning earlier and worshipped before the Lord, and returned and came to their house in Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah, his wife, and the Lord remembered her. Wherefore it came to pass, when the time was come about, after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son, and called his name Samuel, saying, Because I have asked him of the Lord. And the man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer to the Lord the yearly sacrifice and his vow. But Hannah went not up, for she said unto her husband, I will not go up until the child be weaned, and then I will bring him, that he may appear before the Lord, and there abide for ever. And Elkanah her husband said to her, Do what seemeth good thee. Tarry until thou hast weaned him, only the Lord establish his word. So the woman abode and gave her son suck until she had weaned him. And when she had weaned him, she took him up with her there, with 3 bullocks and 1 ephah of flour and a bottle of wine, and brought him into the house of the Lord in Shiloh. And the child was young, and she slew the bullock and brought the child to Eli. And she said, O my lord, as thy soul liveth, my lord, I am the woman that stood by thee here praying unto the Lord. For this child I prayed, and the Lord hath given me my petition which I asked him. Therefore also I have lent him to the Lord. As long as he liveth, he shall be lent to the Lord. And he worshipped the Lord there. So this was what I actually wanted to talk about. I just wanted to read through that, because I think it's quite a beautiful story in a sense, how she gives back to God what he had already given to her, and what she couldn't have had without God granting that. And so Hannah prayed and said, My heart rejoiceth in the Lord, mine horn is exalted in the Lord. My mouth is enlarged over mine enemies, because I rejoice in thy salvation. There is none holy as the Lord, for there is none beside thee, neither is any rock like our God. Talk no more exceeding proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth. For the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. So I really like this. It says, for the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. So there was that example of Eli judging Hannah, and yet she was just praying. The bows of and that happens often. I think that we make wrong judgments, but God will judge our actions, and He will weigh it. The bows of the mighty men are broken, and they that stumbled are girded with strength. So this is how God is just changing the strong, and He's lifting up the broken. They that were full have hired themselves out for bread, and they that were hungry ceased. So that the barren hath borne 7, and she that hath many children is waxed feeble. The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness. For by strength shall no man prevail. The adversaries of the Lord shall be broken to pieces. Out of heaven shall he thunder upon them. The Lord shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed, which is the Messiah. So God would exalt the horn of the anointed. Ultimately, Jesus, in a sense, you know, he humbled himself and became like us, and in him the poor were made rich, the weak were lifted up, the proud were humbled. And so here she says, what? The Lord shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed. And ultimately in Christ we possess all things. He came to give himself, whereas he'd already given us all the things in the world to live in and to rule over. When he made creation, it was for mankind. And then he became a man and gave himself to us, in a sense of Hannah giving Samuel back to God. God gave his son to us so that we can come back to him, so that we can be forgiven and redeemed and restored and healed, made whole because of Jesus, because of our broken heartedness. Hannah was kind of being taunted, it says, by her adversary, and her adversary was the other wife. And then later on, even after Hannah had given Samuel to God, she had sons and daughters after that. It says that God remembered her and he opened her womb. And so she went through this hard time, and then she had this desire, and she gave back. I mean, she didn't know she was going to have more children after she had given Samuel back to God, and yet God blessed her. So yeah, I think there's a lot anyone can just think about this little story, and I think maybe you can take whatever you want from it for yourself. But yeah, ultimately it's God who does things. He killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. He makes poor and he makes rich. He brings low and lifts up. He raises the poor out of the dust and lifts up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among the princes. He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. Ultimately, Jesus is our strength. He's our rock. He's our salvation. And we're lifted up. We will be found in him when he comes, and he will raise us up. So anyway, that's all I wanted to share. I hope that it can be interesting or useful, maybe, to whoever might need to hear that. May you have a lovely day. Jesus bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and give you peace. Amen.